is taking an early lead. They're up 1-0 right now. And oh wow, is it going to be Terminus Re or excuse me,
Yeah, it
Terminus
is.
SC? Huge,
Yeah.
huge map.
It's going to be a Zerg versus Protoss, so I really like watching this matchup, especially into the late game. We'll see what happens here. NrG's Monk is a very strong Protoss player, if I'm not mistaken. He's got himself as Terran right now.
Let's see. Check him out. Yeah, I have him down as Protoss too. Maybe. Well, I guess
Yeah,
you
you
can't
can't switch race, so he's
races.
got to switch that.
Okay. What does it say? This map. See, if it is a Protoss, which once again it should be, not letting Protoss get to a 200 army is so crucial. So, and because of the size of this map, there's a lot of room in the main and at the third expansion for doing drops as Zerg. So, and I already know that Tora Bora likes to play more of a Spin Ishiwa style where he'll drone up heavily and then, transition into that mid game. So it'll be interesting to see how he decides to play it. Because I know from personal experience as a Zerg player, letting Protoss get up to a 200 army is always a bad idea.
I love getting up to that 200 army when I'm playing against a Zerg player that doesn't attack. If a Zerg player doesn't attack, that's basically asking for the death ball to come out from the Protoss player.
Exactly. Void Ray and Colossi are very, very powerful, and backed with sentries, I mean, it makes it very difficult to engage, and as Zerg, you need a good surround. But, there are answers to that composition. We're seeing more and more Zerg players integrate, Baneling drops, and even Infested Terran, or excuse me, not Infested Terran, Neural Parasite is it properly, but it's still a possibility in the matchup.
Yeah. And we've got here oGd Tora Bora from old generation Dota versus NrG's Monk, one of the many monks out there playing Protoss, of course. Protoss is going to be spawning as the teal player. We'll see what kind of positions they take, because there are a little bit of advantages and disadvantages here, and it looks like our Zerg player has gotten an okay spawn against our Protoss player, a little bit going to be expanding away from the Protoss player, which is always a good thing.
Exactly. You never want to be expanding towards your opponent as a Zerg. Even if it's a Terran, I mean, you got to worry about that third being a planetary fortress. Granted, this map doesn't have exactly the best positioning. Players would probably more expand towards the center if you were Terran and you got these spawns. But without all that, it's definitely more comfortable to be expanding away from your opponent as Zerg.
Yeah.
And I suppose it's Protoss too.
Yeah. Well, our Protoss player is going to have this vulnerable third base to drops. Going to be really quick drop from oGd Tora Bora's main, especially with the Overlords hatching over there. We have an Overlord. Did it spot that probe? Maybe it did, so I guess Tora Bora does know exactly where his opponent has spawned already. NrG's Monk is also scouting in the right direction, so he will be able to see his Zerg player real soon, his opponent real soon, and we'll see what kind of opening Tora Bora decides to go for. It looks like he's getting gas pool first. Not going to be going for a really fast expansion, and our Protoss player also throwing up the gateway at the front.
See, this map has so many interesting openings. Monk could choose to do more of a gateway-based opening, or he could set up a proxy hatch at the bottom where his third would be. Or, excuse me, not hatch, a proxy gateway. Not even a gateway. My mind is blowing right now. Stargate. So he could do some Void Ray harass.
Yeah.
Void Rays are always powerful, especially against a Zerg that likes to macro. If they're droning too heavily and don't have the queen count, it can basically end the game.
Yeah, Void Rays, once they become charged up, it's gonna be really hard to deal with unless you've got some Hydras on the way, gonna be spawning out in larger numbers than one or two. Otherwise, those Void Rays can actually clean up those Hydras pretty easily, especially if there's a Phoenix in the reinforcements. And
Absolutely.
So we've got the spawning pool coming up for Tora Bora. He's playing this out as safe as he possibly can. Possibly going to be going for that hatch real soon. He does have enough minerals for it, but, well, he did. Now throwing down the speed and the queen at the same time, so he is going to be going for that first. And no really fast hatch. There is the cybernetics core on the way, throwing up the second gas as well, so NrG's Monk could be going for some tech or possibly going for a sentry expansion.
Yeah, one of the important things to do as Zerg is to always steal that second extractor. That way it kind of prevents any early sort of tech.
Yeah.
But, Tor is playing very, very safe. Now he's just grabbing the expansion at 21. pretty standard after getting speed. But the fact that he has speed, it gives him a little bit of mobility, it gives him some map control, and it also will prevent Monk from grabbing his fast expansion.
I see.
So, he's going to have to wait until he has a decent sentry count.
Yeah.
Which seems to be what he's going for. We don't see that first Stalker coming out. So, that's significant in suggesting that he's going to be going for that fast expand.
Yeah, should be seeing a couple more gateways real soon. Looks like he's going for it. 1 gate expansion. So, Lag says Monk. So we've got the pylons coming up. It's fine, says Monk. Alright, we've got the sentries all coming out right now. We've got the warp gate research coming up for NrG's Monk. And we've got a double expand coming out from Tora Bora, so he's going to be taking quite a risk here. I love that
play. Well, here's the thing. Well, he doesn't know, so it definitely is risky from what he senses in game.
Yeah.
But he's working off of 1 gateway.
Yeah.
So there's no real huge threat right now.
Yeah.
So grabbing another expansion when he knows that Monk wants to go for his, it's just a great idea.
Yeah.
And as long as he drones heavily enough and doesn't get overconfident, because you don't want to be caught off guard with some kind of like Dark Templar or, like we mentioned before, a Stargate with Void Ray. But grabbing that third is very important.
Yeah.
You can't be on equal base with a Protoss.
Looks like we're going for a Twilight Council over here from Monk. So he's going to be going for some sort of tech. We'll see what it is real soon. He's got 2 gateways coming up. So the risk here is that Tora Bora doesn't actually know what his opponent is doing. So the risk is that maybe it's a 5-gate pressure off of these 2 bases. Maybe it's 6 gateways coming up. So he really doesn't know, which is why I'm saying it's a risk. But from our with map hacks look, it looks pretty good right now for our Zerg player. He's going to be able to drone pretty heavily for some point of time while Monk gets up all of these gateways as well as his tech. He's throwing up a Dark Shrine though.
Yeah, but look at the timing right now from Tora. A lot of Zerg players recognize the fact that around 6:30 you need to have your Evolution Chamber, either for a Void Ray Harass or for Dark Templar. Mm-hmm. And as soon as that Dark Shrine went down, so did the Evolution Chamber. So, granted, if he posts up some Spore Crawlers, he's going to be perfectly safe.
Yeah. So we've got NrG Monk here. He's grabbing the double gas at his natural expansion. He needs a lot of gas for this build, whatever it is that he's going for. He's going for those Dark Templar. We'll see what his follow-up is. And Overlord is making its way into his base right now. And we'll see if it sees that Archon, or no, what do you call it? A Dark Shrine.
Dark Shrine. No, it's an Archon.
It's an Archon, yeah. It kind of looks like one, a big ball of blue fire.
Yeah, sure. When it's warping in, definitely.
It's about the right size until it gets a little bit bigger. Since it builds so slowly, now it is warping in, so we'll see how much damage he's going to be able to do. There are Spore Crawlers at the ready, so he's probably not going to be able to do too much. A couple of Dark Templar are now warping in at this proxy pylon in the north position. And a probe is still hanging out over there, and those Dark Templar are just going to be running into a wall of opposition. Probably not going to be able to get out of there alive unless some perfect micro goes down. Looks like those Dark Templar are going to be running in there. One of them is trying to run away.
Getting that surround right there.
Yeah.
That would have been huge to get any DTs by. He probably could have killed the that third expansion down there if one DT had gotten by. But look at the macro hatches right now from Tora. He has 4 hatcheries already.
Yeah.
At 9 minutes into the game.
We've got this rocks here, though, that Monk can actually take down and go straight into that expansion. So we'll see if he opts to do that.
Let me ask you something. As a Protoss player, how devastating is that when you tech for something like DTs and it just gets completely shut down?
It's absolutely destructive to what your plans is, because that costs a lot. If you look at it, right now he's getting Blink off of the Twilight Council, but Twilight Council is 150 minerals. We've got 100 minerals sunk into the Dark Shrine. We've got 350 gas thrown into that tech, and he's warped into 3 Dark Templar, and 3 Dark Templar are not cheap. They're 125 each, and he's losing the last one, so he's basically lost Colossus tech in comparison. So if he hadn't gone for those Dark Templar, he'd have a Colossus out on the field right now, and a Colossus is a pretty good unit.
Yeah, absolutely. Very, very powerful against Zerg and basically any composition. Um, yeah, the fact that he probably had this plan, the tech toward DTs, and when that gets shut down, it's devastating, and it leaves you really vulnerable because your first initial plan of attack, didn't
Yeah,
work.
and if you look at his
So now
army, it's just not that big. There's a couple of sentries
not
here,
at all.
there's 5 stalkers, and there's like 2 zealots. If our Zerg player suddenly decided to make a ton of units, this would get completely overrun. It doesn't matter if those sentries are at full energy. Monk realizes this, and he's throwing up a couple of those photon cannons right now, but it's just looking pretty bleak. Torobora is throwing up his 4th base, as our Protoss player is only now throwing down his 3rd. So this is going to be pretty hard to deal with. Another Dark Templar is warping in, going to be trying to do some damage. We've got the Phoenix scouting around the map right now, going to be checking everything out. Observers coming out, so he's teching back towards Colossus. So we'll see if he's able to get back into this with all of these tech choices coming out. He's throwing down additional photon cannons in case that push comes out. He just needs to survive against this push if Torobora decides to move out right now, but it looks like he's completely okay with sitting back. He's got Neural Parasite on the way. He's got Baneling Nest. He's got the Glial Reconstitution, Ground Carapace level 1. Look at all of these upgrades just coming up for our Zerg player. Even 11 more drones right now, and our Protoss player is only now getting +2. Of course, it's finishing up, but,
Yeah, Tor is definitely covering all of his bases. I love the fact that he's getting an early Neural Parasite. There's so many times where you have games, and that's the one thing you wish you had had.
Absolutely. Looks like our Protoss player is now saturated his 3rd base. His main base is running a little bit dry. He's got the extended thermal lance on the way for the Colossus. First Colossus is on the way, and the +2 attack is just finished. But do keep in mind, a Protoss army with a +2 attack is very strong, so we'll see if Monk is able to pull back into this with that very strong army that he's going to be having off of these 3 bases. I really can't see him taking a 3rd anytime soon, unless he's got some tricks in his bag to be able to help him. I mean, a 4th? What am I talking about? He's got his 3rd right here mining. So we'll see if he's able to take a 4th anytime soon. He's got a pretty good zealot harassment here, actually, killing off.
You look at the Harvester count right now for Monk, sitting at 82.
Wow.
Just an incredible amount of harvesters.
Actually, that's very awesome. That's ridiculous for a Protoss player at this point against a Zerg player.
Speaking of the harvester count, lower at the bottom 3rd, we have a Baneling drop going down, annihilating all of the probes.
Oh man!
Oh my gosh!
And it's coming to the natural expansion as well. There's 4 more Banelings, but they do get taken out.
He killed 27 workers right there.
Yeah.
Excellent attack. Like you mentioned, those close positions for the Zerg allow for some awesome air harassment with Banelings. And that's exactly what we just saw. That was devastating.
Looks like Monk is going to be gearing up to move out right now. Our Zerg player has banked 1,600 minerals only now, throwing down some stuff. I don't know what he's making. It looks like he's making 30 Banelings.
42 Zerglings on the way, too, to back this up. And
however, those Colossus with +2 attack, they will be able to kill, I think, Zerglings in 2 shots or 1 shot. So that's pretty good, especially with +3 on the way. He's trying to get up this really powerful army, that Death Ball type army right now. He's got 3 Colossus out. He's got his army pretty well spread out. We'll see if our Zerg player is able to bust in here. He's got his Overlords loaded up with a ton of Banelings. So he's going to be trying to drop these on the Stalkers, trying to clean that up. Protoss players chrono boosting out to the weapons level 3 is about halfway complete now.
Yeah, see the fact that the Monk has Blink, he's going to be able to take out those Infestors if they Neural Parasite the Colossi. But, with those Baneling drops, if he decides to blink forward, Torobora can definitely make him pay for it.
And especially with all of those Zerglings, it's going to be very hard to blink forward to do anything. Blinking into battle is usually a really bad decision because the Stalkers clump up, and especially against something like Banelings, the last thing you want your units to do is clump up. Monk is being pretty smart here about this 4th base, throwing up plenty of photon cannons. He's getting out additional Colossi right now. A little bit of a lag. We've got Monk here backing his stalkers into a corner. Not sure what that is all about. We've got additional hatches coming up. We've got Phoenix scouting everywhere, going to make sure he knows exactly what's going on. A couple of stalkers also checking this top position. Might be able to take out that hatch.
The Zergling drop is going down right now in the main.
Oh, man.
The first Overlord gets taken out, no problem, but now the Lings are coming out. And, you know, the timing for this attack at the north, Tora is moving down. And it looks like he smells blood. Oh, wow, hallucinated Archons.
Yeah,
excellent.
A wall of Archons.
Excellent play. We don't see that enough. But this point of attack, oh my gosh, the Baneling drops aren't working right now. The Overlords are sitting idle.
Yeah, it looks like all the Zerglings have been cleaned up. The Stalkers are moving back. The Banelings are falling out, but they don't have speed. Oh no.
Oh my gosh, but look how many Banelings there are.
Yeah, but NrG's Monk...
He needs to re-macro immediately.
NrG's Monk holds on. All of those Overlords are going to get taken out. Ultralisks are now on the way. 54 Zerglings in the production queue. Chitinous plating also on the way. NrG's Monk is going to be advancing forward. Torabora is not going to be able to make much for a while, and those Zerglings, once they pop out, is going to be a lot of Zerglings for those Stalkers to handle, and NrG's Monk realizes that, is going to be backing up here. He's got a Colossus in his main, a couple of spare Zealots there, but looking more and more ahead for Torabora as he's able to expand all over the place, and NrG's Monk is drying up everywhere.
These Dark Templar, well, even if Monk's drying up, I mean, he's already killed 2 expansions right now. The third is already mined out. And Tora's under, you know, heavy harassment from these DTs. They do 60 damage a slice.
Wow, I didn't even notice that this hatch actually went down. This is going to be huge trouble for Torabora right now. He's not banked that much in terms of minerals. He's lost that top expansion from those Stalkers. He's made a lot of Zerglings, but that's not much, especially if you're going up against Blinkstalker, Colossus, Archon. And with the Ultras out in the field, that's his one saving grace right now. But Psionic Storm is on the way. That eats Zerglings for breakfast. We've got this fourth hatch trying to come back up. Torabora is dried up everywhere, actually. So our Protoss player, because of those Baneling bombs, he's actually conserved some mineral patches for the later game.
Yeah, Tora is sitting on basically one base. He really needs to... it's a tough position because he feels like he needs units, but, you know, without an expansion, he's going to dry out and that'll be it. So he probably needs to double expand here. And, ooh, wow, forced to cancel another hatchery due to a DT. I mean, those DTs, they're starting to pay off. I mean, they weren't great in the beginning of the game, but now they're doing serious damage.
Drawn Torabora's attention everywhere. He just has to pay attention to everything at the same time. He's got to have his units everywhere. He's got his Ultras out. They are at 4-2 upgrades. So, but NrG's Monk, he's got Templar, he's got Archons, he's got Colossi. He's definitely worked up to that Death Ball type army. Once he maxes out, he's going to be able to push.
If Tora can get a decent surround with the Ultralisks, he can probably do some huge damage. Yeah. But that's granted that he can get that positioning. I mean, his first attack, if he had better positioning, he would have eliminated that entire Protoss army. But, you know, when he engaged, Monk was already... He had a nice spread.
And those Banelings basically did nothing. All of them died, like, without doing any damage. So,
yeah, and then losing, he lost every Overlord. It set him back. He was at 143 over 100. His supply just got completely destroyed. Look at this. 4 more Overlords going down full of units.
And it looks like this game is definitely headed in favor of NrG's Monk. Torabora is trying to get up additional hatches over here. We're lagging very heavily.
Yeah, we're just going to pause. No big deal. Hopefully Tora's lag will settle. But if you look at the Broodlords. Now we have Broodlords out. So he's got a deadly composition. It's just going to matter if he can execute the attack. Yeah, I think Tora is actually experiencing some lag.
Oh, okay.
I like the slight BM, but I take it they're actually friends. I'm pretty sure both these teams know each other pretty well.
Yeah. So we've got here the drones continuing to mine after that pause, sent back to work. by NrG's Monk, actually. So we've got here the Templar getting a lot of energy right now, and we do have Broodlords out on the field. So there's yet another Nexus on the way. So we've got NrG's Monk now maxed out, which we should be seeing a push real soon. Somebody has left the game. And actually, NrG's Monk, I think he has a lot more probes than he might actually want. Well, no, 74 is fine.
Oh no. Wow, taking out another hatchery with the Zealot harassment. And he's making a huge mistake here. He's going to reveal the fact that he has Broodlords.
This is going to get a pretty good response from NrG's Monk. He should go for some of those Void Rays. Yeah, they are on the production queue.
Look at that. Void Rays. Yep. Huge mistake right there. I mean, you don't need to take your whole army. If anything, go on, take the Ultralisk, but leave the Broodlords. Now he's basically preparing for his attack, and that's going to just do more damage to Tor's plans.
And NrG's Monk, he's got the Blink, so he's going to be readying that. He's also upgrading the air weapons level 1 for his Void Rays. So we're going to see how this plays out. We've got a very slim time where those Void Rays will not be out, and those Void Rays are going to be popping out right now, and here they are out on the field. There's 3 Void Rays already, so this is going to be pretty bad. We've got a bunch of Stalkers in the middle of the map. They are going to get fungled and cleaned up, but that's a small loss for NrG's Monk, especially because he's going for those Void Rays.
And losing the Infestors. Those Infestors all had full energy, which gives them the possibility of being able to, do some neural parasites and take control of this Colossi, and now he just lost them. Every unit counts, and unfortunately Tor's in a position where he can't even really produce because of his economy situation.
A ton of Archons being morphed right now. So those Dark Templar are now turning into Archons, going to be joining this army. This is going to be a very potent mix against what Tor Bora has. Basically, it's Ultra Broodlord, and Archons are pretty good against our Broodlords. I mean, not Broodlords. What am I talking about? Archons are pretty good against Ultralisks. Last time I checked, we've got the Void Rays, which are also pretty good against Broodlords, which can't shoot up. So yeah,
unfortunately. Plus those Archons with that splash damage, even when those Broodlings are released, they're just not going to be able to do the damage they need to do. We do see some Corruptors coming out.
But here comes the push from NrG's Monk. He's positioning his army up in the center. He's got that Death Ball formation.
This is probably the most deadly ball you could possibly have as Protoss. He has every unit. He's got Immortals. He had Stalkers, but he threw them away. Dark Templars have warped into Archons. High Templar are out. Colossi, Void Ray. It's going to be unstoppable.
Going down on the Void Rays, and those Void Rays could...
he could Neural Parasite them, but he's not doing it. He's losing all of the Broodlords.
Void Rays have taken out a good number of those units, and the rest of the units are going to be able to advance here. The Archons running forth, and we've got a Neural Parasite down on one of the Archons, but it's just not going to be enough. We've got the... Colossi force now advancing forward, and NrG's Monk is going to be able to warp in a lot more units, replenish with plenty of those Void Rays. We've got the Archons attacking some of those Corruptors now, and the Archons are making their way into Tor Bora's main. It looks like I can't micro my Infestors in 3 seconds. GG comes out of Tor Bora, and now NrG's Monk takes the game.
I mean, that's a difficult position when you're lagging. Microing is a huge part of the game, but I think Tor was beat there no matter what. Obviously, if he was able to Neural Parasite those Void Rays, it could have turned that fight. But even if he had came out alive right there, Monk just had such a better economy going. He was really set for the late game. So it looks like NrG's going to be taking that. So now they're up 2-0.